I think it stems from the whole thing. We're not good enough with the puck, and it's leading to sustained, time in our D zone. It's the whole thing. We're not getting up the ice, not forechecking pucks back.
Connor McDavid walked off the ice with a look fans almost never see. His stare was sharp, his steps slow, and the weight of the night sat heavy on him. The latest collapse didn't just hit the scoreboard, it hit the entire team. And when he finally spoke, his words sent the arena into silence, leaving everything hanging on what comes next. The latest loss hit Edmonton fast. The final score read 8-3 after Dallas scored 4 times in the first period. 7 Dallas players finished the night with 2 points. The Oilers pulled their starting goalie, Stuart Skinner, after he allowed 4 goals on 8 shots. Backup Calvin Pickard faced 22 shots and allowed 4 more goals. The team record moved to 10-10-5, and that added even more pressure.
I really feel like goaltending is a team thing. Tough for goalies to look good when the group in front of them is not playing well. I don't really care who it is. When the team in front of them is not playing up to their standards, then tough for a goalie to look good. Felt bad for both of them tonight.
When the game ended, Connor McDavid spoke to reporters. His voice was steady, but his face looked worn. He did not blame the goalies for the loss. He said, "I really feel like goaltending is a team thing. I don't care who it is. When the team in front of them isn't playing up to their standards, it's tough for a goalie to look good. I felt bad for both of them tonight." His words held weight because both goalies had already taken heavy criticism online. McDavid also stood with Leon Draisaitl. Both players said the defensive issues were bigger than one position. The team had faced similar problems in other games. A few weeks earlier, Edmonton allowed 9 goals in another blowout. Fans hoped that game had been a turning point, but the loss to Dallas showed the problems were still there. Inside the locker room, the mood stayed tense. Players knew fans were watching their reactions. The team's leaders understood what the loss meant. It was not just the score. It was the way the team played, the way chances were given up, and the growing feeling that mistakes kept repeating. As the night ended, Edmonton faced more pressure than before, and the questions around the roster got louder. And even with McDavid defending his teammates, the sense inside the building did not calm down. It only made the next steps more important, because nothing about this loss felt normal. The tension inside the Oilers' room did not fade after the cameras shut off. Players walked out slow. The loss felt heavy because the problems were not new. The defensive zone broke down early. Passes missed. Coverage slipped. Dallas attacked the middle of the ice with little resistance. Each mistake pushed the team deeper into trouble, and every shift showed how fast the momentum had slipped away. The pressure on the leadership group increased. McDavid's tone, steady but tired, made that clear. He had defended the goalies, but the message pointed at the whole roster. The issues came from structure, support, and effort. The coaching staff repeated the same view. They said the breakdowns hit every line on the ice. That added more urgency because these problems had been seen before. Dallas used the gaps to score at a high pace. Jamie Benn reached a major career mark during the game when he recorded his 400th NHL goal. The Stars kept control from the opening minutes. Their passing was sharp, and the Oilers could not slow their rush plays. Shots against piled up fast. The bench stayed quiet as the scoreboard kept rising. The Oilers had talked about turning the season around after earlier losses. The players said they needed tighter defense and faster reactions. But when the team allowed 4 goals on 8 shots, the concern deepened. The numbers from this game showed the same pattern from the past. The team had strong offensive talent, but the breakdowns behind them were costing games. Inside the locker room, a few players stayed long after the media left. Coaches reviewed plays with staff. Reporters noted how the mood stayed flat and serious. McDavid's earlier comment about feeling bad for both goalies stayed at the center of conversation. It pointed to a team trying to protect its own players from blame while still facing the facts of the night. Fans reacted fast after the game. Many pointed to the defensive support. Others mentioned the goalie statistics and how the team had been outplayed across long stretches. The energy online reflected the same scene that played out in the arena, a sense that the team was reaching a critical moment in its season. And as players left the building, the tension followed them out. The questions surrounding the team did not slow down. They only grew stronger because the Oilers knew the next game would carry even more weight than this one.
Yeah, very happy with David's play. You know, it's tough not coming into games when you haven't played for a while, and really we haven't had any practice time either. He's been on the ice doing some skills and some skating to keep his conditioning up, but not to have that game like atmosphere for him.
Chris Knoblauch broke the silence. Everything looked normal from the outside, but inside the Oilers' locker room, a truth was building pressure. It stayed hidden behind highlight reels, post-game smiles, and the two players who carried almost everything. His words cut through the noise, exposed what the team tried to keep quiet, and pushed a deeper issue into full view. And the fallout is only beginning. Chris Knoblauch's message did not arrive through rumors or leaks. It came from his own voice, recorded and published through NHL.com and repeated again during the post-game press conference. His words cut straight into the core of the Edmonton Oilers season. The team stands at 9-9-4. The record places them in the middle of the Pacific Division, and the numbers show a pattern that has repeated week after week. Connor McDavid has 32 points through the first 22 games, with 9 goals and 23 assists. Leon Draisaitl has 26 points, with 14 goals and 12 assists. Together, they have built 58 points. The team has 181 total, meaning the two players carry roughly 33% of the entire offensive output. This distribution is factual. It reflects what has been visible on the ice for years. But Knoblauch's message made it clear the coaching staff sees it the same way the public does. He said, "We need to have secondary scoring. We can't rely on Connor and Leon or whoever's playing with them. We need some bottom six contributions." The remark exposed what the Oilers have attempted to downplay. They have asked the top line to carry the majority of the load, and the numbers confirm it. The coach delivered the message after another night that began with 2 goals against in the first 6 minutes. He said the team pushed back, stating, "I like the energy. They feel like any game they have a chance to win." But he also pointed to sharp defensive lapses, the commitment to protecting the dangerous ice, he said, describing how players drifted out of position on the first goal. Knoblauch also highlighted David Tomasic, who moved from the press box into the lineup and scored off a strong forecheck. He noted the challenge of playing without regular game reps, saying the forward had mostly been doing skills and conditioning skate, not full practices. Yet he added, "Nice to see him rewarded with a goal. It became the clearest example of the depth scoring he said the roster needs." He repeated that more of this is required, especially while playing shorthanded. Chris Knoblauch expanded his message by pointing directly at the moments that cost Edmonton control. He described a repeating cycle in recent games. The Oilers scored and the opponent answered almost immediately. He said, "It's very disappointing because you dig a hole and you fight to get back into it, and then you are in that hole again." His statement reflected a pattern shown across several matchups this season. Early deficits forced the team to climb back, and sudden reply goals erased progress as soon as it appeared. The Belavip report described this same issue as a long-term trend. It noted that Edmonton's offense has been one-dimensional for years, with the two stars serving as the central answer every night. The Oilers reached the Stanley Cup final in back-to-back seasons, but the article pointed to the same imbalance during those runs. The team did not produce the depth scoring needed to support a full playoff push. Knoblauch's remarks connected directly to that history. He repeated another key detail when asked about defense. He said the team must play good, solid defensive hockey. He linked this requirement to every line, not only to the top scorers. He clarified that scoring help is important, but defensive structure is equally necessary. He gave the example of the first goal against, where players lost position inside the defensive zone. The footage showed open ice in front of the net, and Knoblauch confirmed this in his comments. The message from the article and the press conference lined up at every point. Edmonton needs more than 2 players driving the offense. The team must protect high-danger areas more consistent. The bottom 6 forwards must produce in both scoring scoring and defensive role. McDavid and Draisaitl continue to deliver high numbers, but the distribution across the rest of the lineup remains uneven. Knobloch's remarks made that fact public.
And I think last night is the kind of accumulation of a lot of different things, and last night's a great warning to the group what happens when you're not ready to roll.
Connor McDavid drops a bombshell on Coach Knobloch, and the shock in that room was instant. Reporters called it a truth bomb, and the room shifted fast, which set the tone for everything that came next. That
Beating
message
themselves
did
up and not playing very well. So there are a lot of not looking like a very cohesive team right now, just not playing very well, and that's on the coaching staff, mostly myself, to get that
came
aligned.
next. That message didn't appear out of nowhere. The Oilers had been stuck in a stretch where they went 4-4-2 in their last 10 games, and Knobloch had already said, "We're not playing our best hockey." That quote came on November 2nd. It added weight to the new comments because it showed the coach had been pushing the team for weeks, and now his pressure had reached the captain. That built even more curiosity around how this moment would change their dynamic. Knobloch also said something important after the November 5th shootout loss to Dallas. He stated, "Leon and Connor were two of our better players. We just need to get more out of everyone." That line made it clear he saw the top stars carrying too much of the load. When his new message on November 11th surfaced, people wondered if his patience with the whole team had run out, or if he was now turning that pressure tighter onto McDavid himself. This shift created more questions about how the captain would receive the target placed on him. The timing carried even more weight because McDavid had made a strong statement months earlier. After the Oilers lost the Stanley Cup final in June 2025, he said, "We kept expletive, trying the same thing over and over again, banging our heads against the wall." That quote showed he already had issues with how the team operated. So when Knobloch fired his new message at him in November, it added a layer of tension that didn't feel new, raising curiosity about what was brewing inside the team long before this night. The Oilers have not won the Stanley Cup since 1990, and each season brings more pressure. When a coach and captain exchange sharp comments only months apart, the spotlight gets even brighter. With Knobloch calling out the team and McDavid voicing his frustrations earlier in the year, this November moment felt like something bigger starting to crack open, leaving many wondering how far this tension would grow next. The reaction inside the team did not slow down after that night. Reporters said the coach's message toward McDavid was direct enough to make players look around the room. Some felt the comment pointed at leadership. Others felt it pointed at effort. But no matter how it was read, the message placed new weight on McDavid right after the win. That made people wonder what the next move inside the locker room would be. The next part of the story connected back to Knobloch's earlier pressure on the roster when he said, "We're not playing our best hockey." It sounded like the coach wanted stronger direction from the top. This created a new curiosity. Was Knobloch now expecting McDavid to carry more than his play, or was he pushing him because the team had stalled? McDavid's past comments from June 2025 also sat in the background of this moment. His words after the Stanley Cup final, "We kept expletive, trying the same thing over and over again," pointed to problems he saw in the system. So when Knobloch fired his new message months later, it almost looked like both sides were responding to the same long-running issue. The Oilers' long Stanley Cup drought made the whole situation heavier. Every year the team gets closer or falls short. The demand for results grows. When both the captain and the coach deliver sharp comments within months of each other, it adds more stress to a group already squeezing for answers. That pressure creates more curiosity about how the Oilers will hold together as the season continues, and whether the tension between McDavid and Knobloch will push the team forward or pull it apart next.
And I think last night is the kind of accumulation of a lot of different things, and last night's a great warning to the group what happens when you're not ready to roll.
Something just shook the Edmonton Oilers locker room. After a crushing 9-1 loss, Connor McDavid stood up and called out his own team. He didn't dodge, he didn't sugarcoat. He said the Oilers were flat. No energy, no emotion. Coming from the captain, that means something. What he said next set the tone for the rest of the season. The Edmonton Oilers are under pressure. They've played 16 games this season, and their record stands at 6 wins, 6 losses, and 4 overtime losses. That's not what fans or the team expected. And after getting blown out 9-1 by the Colorado Avalanche, something had to be said. Connor McDavid said it.
Early on, obviously, we found an issue to bring some of that emotion, some of that energy to the game. That's not fighting. That's not anything. It's just bringing that energy, skating, a little bit more physical.
In his post-game comments, McDavid told reporters, "It's been flat. That starts with me as a leader. There's maybe not been enough energy, not enough emotion, and we have to find a way to bring some of that into the game." This wasn't just about one game. McDavid spoke about the team's attitude over several games. He said, "We all have a hand in bringing just a little bit more, emotionally, physically, and just to our game as a whole." McDavid has 22 points this season, 5 goals, and 17 assists, but he's also -6 at even strength. That shows even the best players on the team are getting outscored when they're on the ice. The loss to Colorado was Edmonton's worst home defeat since 2009. The Avalanche scored goal after goal, and the Oilers didn't have an answer. The team was down 4-0 after the first period, and it only got worse from there. This wasn't just a bad night. It was a wake-up call. The Oilers were supposed to be Cup contenders again. They reached the Stanley Cup final 2 seasons in a row, but right now, their play doesn't match that level. Over the last 10 games, their record is 4 wins, 3 losses, and 3 overtime losses. That's not terrible, but it's not what a contending team expects. Now, with McDavid calling for more effort and emotion, the whole organization is on alert. The message is clear. Things have to change now. McDavid's message wasn't just frustration, it was a warning, and it wasn't only for the players, it reached the coaching staff and front office too. When a captain speaks like this after a blowout loss, it signals a bigger problem inside the team. Coach Chris Knoblauch now faces pressure to respond. Line changes, goalie decisions, and defensive structure are all under review. The Oilers can't afford to let this slide. Their next games are critical. McDavid said, "We have to find a way to bring more." That starts immediately. McDavid's call for emotion matters. Hockey isn't just about skill. It's about fight. The Oilers haven't shown enough of it. They've looked flat, not just in one game, but over several. That's why his comments hit so hard. This also affects the fans. The Oilers have one of the most passionate fan bases in the NHL. A 9-1 home loss sting. And when your best player says the team isn't bringing enough, fans expect action. Behind the scenes, the organization must decide how to fix this. Trades, call-ups, system changes, it's not clear yet. But McDavid just put everyone on notice. He didn't blame others. He included himself, but he didn't stay quiet. His leadership now demands results. Not someday, but now. Edmonton's next games will say a lot. If they come out with speed, energy, and purpose, this could be the turning point. If not, bigger changes could follow. For now, one fact stands out. The Oilers captain just spoke louder than ever, and now the entire hockey world is watching how they answer.
It's against our standards, and I thought we played with some pretty high standards today, and again, saying that, it doesn't guarantee a victory. It doesn't mean it's perfect. But I felt our intentions were there. We were organized in our 5-on-5 play, and it was a good game. I thought we stayed patient. It's unfortunate we don't get the 2-point, but a lot of positive.
Martin St. Louis made a shocking announcement to the Montreal Canadiens on November 8, 2025. The goaltending controversy exploded 24 hours earlier when Jakub Dobes cried after losing. His veteran Samuel Montembeault ranked 2nd worst in the NHL statistically. St. Louis canceled practice immediately. He called Dobes into his office. The decision he revealed would alter everything. Dobes stopped 24 of 28 shots in the 4-3 overtime defeat. His record dropped to 6-0. 5-0-1. The loss came when Jesper Bratt scored 93 seconds into overtime with a backhand shot through the 5-hole. Dobes took full responsibility for the team's first overtime loss of the season. We played good enough to win, just not good enough from my side, Dobes told reporters after the game. I don't know, just really hard. This is a tough one. Just sucks. It happened last year. It happened this year. Lose to those guys in OT. So just disappointed in myself. That's pretty much it. The emotional display shocked media members present. NHL.com reporter Mike Morial witnessed the scene firsthand. Don't know if I've ever seen this before, but MTL rookie goalie Jacob Dobes, who entered this game 6-0-0, was literally in tears, blaming himself for the Canadiens' loss. Morial posted on social media. We, the media, tried to console him, telling him to keep his head up. Kid is putting so much pressure on himself. Martin St. Louis addressed the situation during his press conference. Everybody handles situations differently, and he took it hard, St. Louis said. It's probably a big reason why he's at this level. He's probably demanding of himself. We'll talk to Dobes. He's played really well for us. Teammates rushed to defend their goaltender. Defenseman Noah Dobson spoke with reporters after the game. Dobson said, "But it just shows the character and passion in this room. Everyone holds themselves to a high standard and wants to do what they can to help the team win. But we know in the room he's been a backbone for us this year, so there's no need for him to do that and put it on himself." This situation placed St. Louis in a difficult position regarding his goaltending rotation. Samuel Montembeault, the presumed starting goaltender, has struggled severely this season. The 28-year-old carries a 2-3 record with a 3.82 goals against average and .842 save percentage through 5 games. St. Louis maintained confidence in his struggling veteran. "If you ask me if I'm worried, no, I'm not worried," St. Louis said. The coach continued defending Montembeault's ability. "I didn't have a single idea in mind. We have 2 good goaltenders," St. Louis added. "Dobes is definitely having a good streak, but Monty is going to have streaks like that too. We're well equipped in front of the net." Dobes maintains elite statistics despite his first loss. He ranks 3rd in the NHL with a 2.25 goals against average. His .920 save percentage places him 4th among all goaltenders. The Czech netminder has started 6 of Montreal's last 8 games. Montembeault acknowledged his struggles publicly. "I know what I can do.